you're not just buying, a few hundred days of support. You're buying after a bear market, a very strong decrease in the price action, followed by sideways consolidation. Okay, and all that together may have been what, 700 to 800 days, sometimes 1,000 days. Let's just count for Cardano. Yeah, you're looking at 750 days of down and sideways price action, right? So if you're a trader of any kind, whether a day trader, a position trader, a swing trader, you want to buy low, sell high, what you want to do is look at this chart and just buy in some way, shape, or form, and then figure out where you want to take profit. So this is what I'm going to talk about. This is kind of where the skill level, this demand for the skill increases. Because if you want to trade in and out of a move, please understand, most traders fail. Most traders do not outperform people who just buy and hold. But you can't be most traders if you're going to succeed in doing this. You have to kind of know what you're doing. And so this is what I'm going to go over today. Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is September 23rd, 2023. And we're going to do something a little different today, all right? We're going to talk about trade setups, okay? In particular, 3 different trade setups that I think are worthwhile to take in the next coming days. Guys, if that interests you, then watch until the very end. We're going to be talking about Cardano, Litecoin, and DOT, right? Polkadot. So let's get straight into it. All right, let's start out with Bitcoin and just reiterate my view on what's likely to happen in the next few days. In the next few days, it could be anytime today. It could be in the next 24 to 48 hours, 72 hours. I don't know. But based off of what I'm seeing in the charts, it looks as if we're targeting $32,000, okay? $32,000, which is a major resistance, and it has been a major resistance for quite some time, specifically 158 days, at least in this part of our chart, okay? But it was also resistance out here, right? Back when we retraced in this bearish move, okay? So it was resistance way back in June of 2022. But in any case, 32,000 should be our next resistance, and we should be bouncing back off of that down to around 29,000, which is more or less the center of this range, okay? Because you always have to retest the center of any range as support before moving up from it, okay? So that's Bitcoin. But you're here because you want to hear trade plans, trade setups for these different altcoins. Let's start out with Cardano. And let me say this before we get started. Trading is quite risky, okay? There's always risks associated with any trade, whether you're on spot or on leverage. If you don't know what leverage is, don't even try it. Do your homework first, research, figure it out, practice and practice and practice. If you are interested in getting started, do as much research as possible. Sign up for an exchange. I have a link for Femex, which I love as an American, using Femex for leverage trading. I have a link, and you can, get certain perks by using my referral link. In any case, figure out what you're doing first. If you're just going to buy spot, I have great advice for you. We're in channels that have lasted 400 to 500 days. For instance, we're looking at Cardano, right? Cardano has been in this channel, designated by this blue box that I have, for about 300 days, okay? 300 days side to side, creating a base, a very clear and, defined base. What you want to do when you're trading, and trading is everything. Trading is buying with on spot or buying on leverage. If you're going to sell at a certain point, that's trading. People like to say, "Oh no, that's just investing if it's long term." Books like trading is buying at one point and selling at another point. If you do that, you're trading, you're speculating, okay? And so what you want to do when you're trading is generally buy on support, which is, the support of a chart pattern, and then sell at resistance, okay? But what traders do, so a lot of traders, so many different types of traders. There's day traders, there's swing traders, there's position traders, right? And these all define the length of the trade plan, or the length of time they're willing to hold the asset for the trade to play out, okay? I think for beginners, it's best, for intermediate and beginners, to reduce risk and increase the probability of success. It's best to have a longer time frame for your trade plan. And so if you're completely new to this and you just want to buy support, you want to buy low and sell high, just buy and close your eyes. This is, not financial advice, but that is financial advice. You're buying support of many hundreds of days. Not only that, if you zoom out just a bit, you can see that you're not just buying, a few hundred days of support. You're buying after a bear market, a very strong decrease in the price action, followed by sideways consolidation, okay? And all that together may have been, 700 to 800 days, sometimes 1,000 days. Let's just count for Cardano. You're looking at 750 days of down and sideways price action, right? So if you're a trader of any kind, whether a day trader, a position trader, a swing trader, you want to buy low, sell high, what you want to do is look at this chart and just buy in some way, shape, or form, and then figure out where you want to take profit. So this is what I'm going to talk about. This is kind of where the skill level, this demand for the skill increases. Because if you want to trade in and out of a move, please understand, most traders fail. Most traders do not outperform people who just buy and hold. But you can't be most traders if you're going to succeed in doing this. You have to kind of know what you're doing. And so this is what I'm going to go over today. Looking at this chart on the daily time frame, each bar is a day's worth of price action. We can clearly see, like I said, that this is a support level, right, of many hundreds of days. So it's relatively safe. There's always risk involved, but it's relatively safe to buy on this level. And what you want to do is then identify the next significant level of resistance. Given that this is clearly a well-defined channel, right, the next major level of resistance is going to be the top of the channel. We understand that the anatomy of a channel is such that we have a support level, a midline, and a resistance, okay? When I say major resistance, it could be that we hit our heads against the midline, but you can wick through the midline, you can come back on the midline, it doesn't matter. I wouldn't say that's major, right? So higher degree of probability, we will react to the resistance, the top of the channel, more so than the midline. So I would target the midline. Also, when looking at this chart, what you can see is that the top of the channel has previously served as support for quite some time in the price action, okay? Cardano, for about 130 some odd days, was hanging out on this resistance, but on this level of about 43 cents, okay? And broke that. So what that tells me as a chartist, as an analyst, is that 43 cents is significant. And because we're below it now, and it's now resistance, 43 cents will now be a level where we're going to get a reaction. Because we're below it, it's going to be a sort of a rejection in terms of, a retracement, right? We're going to have a retracement of some sort because now it's resistance as it was support in the past, right? support flips to resistance, resistance flips to support, right? That's SR flipping. These are basic fundamental tenets of technical analysis. So all that to say, if I were trading short term, and I don't know, this could happen within the course of a day, within the course of a week. My very first trade for Cardano, right, in 700 days of down and sideways price action, my very first trade, if I were trading this, not buying and holding, right, and just closing my eyes and just waiting for a long term, that's also a strategy. It's a great strategy. But if I were trading more actively, I would sell 43 cents. Okay, so I'm looking at a move from here of about 75%. Okay, and from there, what I would do is I would expect a retracement to the midline of the channel. Again, remember, channels, the midline of a channel is important, and it always needs to be retested as support before moving on. So what I would expect from Cardano is something like this before continuation. Okay, so that's Cardano. I'm looking at 43 cents for my first sell. Okay, now let's move on. The next one I want to look at is Litecoin. So Litecoin's a popular asset. This is a little different. Okay, this is why, you know, charting is not, it's both art and science. You have to interpret things, you have to be flexible, you have to be creative. Your eye has to be able to see the patterns through the noise, okay? And here we have another channel, but this channel is not orthogonal, it's not straight. And this channel lasted about 466 days. So we were sideways for around a little longer than we were in the previous asset that we just looked at in Cardano. But again, down and sideways, right? You've been down and sideways in Litecoin for quite some time, specifically for about 700 days once more. Okay, so 684 days, 700 days, down and sideways. So again, if your strategy, and you always have to be clear on what your trading strategy is, right? You have to define your trading strategy. In that, you define your risk. In that, you define, you know, when you're going to buy and when you're going to sell, more or less, okay? And you can do both. You can mix it up. You can have certain assets that you only buy and hold, and you're not trading in and out, right? And then you can have a small portion of your portfolio that you trade more actively, right? You can mix it and match. In any case, if you're just going to buy, you want to identify this level as a really good level to buy on, right? Because again, you want to buy low, sell high. You want to buy support, sell resistance. This is 483 days it was of support. That seems like a good deal of support. Can it break down? Obviously, anything can happen. Nothing's 100%. But probabilistically, it probably won't, given that you've been here, you've been at it for 483 days. Now, if you're going to trade this, right, where's the next likely resistance? Okay, well, again, you're looking at the top of the channel, because you were in a channel, right? You have a support, you have a resistance, you have a midline. Do you target the midline? I wouldn't. Again, the midline, especially when you're leaving the channel, is likely going to be retested as support and not necessarily rejected as resistance, okay? So I would again target the top of the channel, but more specifically, I would target $134, okay? Why $134? Because if I take my Fibonacci retracement tool from the top of this move all the way down to the bottom, okay, my phi ratio, or 0.618, right, the golden mean, or the golden ratio rather, it falls at $134. Now again, another caveat, and this is why trading is something that very few people succeed at, like in terms of percentages, right? Like it takes a long time, very steep learning curve, a long time to learn properly. And there's so many details, and the devil's sometimes in the details, especially when your risk is high, your margin level or your leverage is high, right? In any case, I want to mention that I just quoted some pricing, $134 for a target. This is going to be exchange specific. The price at any point in time for any asset is going to always be specific to that exchange in that point in time. Okay? So right now we're looking at a chart of Litecoin on Binance. I don't trade on Binance as an American. I can't. But why am I looking at Binance? Because they have a lot of data on their charts, and so it's easier to look at chart patterns. But when I'm trading, and I've shown this before on the channel, I will specifically look at the asset on the exchanges that I'm trading on. Okay, that is crucial. You always want to look at the asset on the exchanges that you're trading on. Okay, so I'm going to have Femex specific charts, right? Do you see that? When I'm trading. All right, in any case, back to Litecoin. So if I'm looking at Litecoin, I'm looking specifically at 134 because that's at the phi ratio, and that's more or less at the top of this range. Okay, so this is where I would expect some sort of rejection, right? And I want to take profit because I wouldn't be surprised if something like this happened and we retested the midline. Okay, so that's a 50 to 60% retracement on that move. So that would be a nice place to take profit, okay? And again, if you look left, if you look historically, this level of $134 served as support, and then on the way down, it was resistance. So it's significant, and it's had quite a bit of interaction with the price action, okay? So that's Litecoin, and that move from where we're at right now would be approximately 107%. So that is a likely move straight out of the gates for this alt season, right? When it's happening exactly, I don't know. It could happen anytime. I feel in the next few days. Okay. Last but not least, I want to look at Polkadot. Okay, and this is really a distressed asset. And anytime you're investing, anytime you're buying anything, I think it makes sense to buy distressed assets, right? It makes sense to buy low and sell high. This is the definition. Polkadot is a definition of buy low. If you look at this chart, you can see that ever since November of 2021, you've been down and sideways again, and that was like 700 days ago. So down, with a really strong move down, and then sideways for a bit. Again, you want to look at if a support level was established, okay? And it seems as if that is true. You've established about a 300-day, almost 300-day level of support here. Okay, so right now it's as low as it's ever been. You're literally buying the bottom of this asset's bear market. Okay, so if you want to just buy and hold, whether you have a move down that's slightly lower than where we're at now, you're still buying a valuable you're making a valuable buy because you're buying low. You're not going to regret it, right? You're likely not going to regret it when it starts to move. Even if it moves a little below where it's at right now, when it starts to move up, you're not going to regret it because you literally bought the bottom, okay? Other thing I want to mention is that, once again, you can see this asset has been in a channel for about 300 days, and there's a clear bottom and a clear top. Okay, this bottom, every single time we came down to this level, we bounced off it. Now we look like we're going to bounce off of it. Okay, the top of this channel is also well defined, and that's approximately this level of $6.97. Again, this is all exchange specific. You'd have to pull up the particular chart for your exchange to get really specific. So I would just say more or less, right? About $6.97, $7 thereabouts. And the other interesting thing about that level is you can also take your Fibonacci retracement tool of this move from the top to the bottom, and you'll see that that $6.97 is almost exactly at the phi ratio, the 0.618. Okay, I'm not going to go into why this happens. It's not coincidence. These are ways that you can find confluence in the chart, meaning you can find different levels that respect different ways of looking at the chart, either mathematically or just structurally. Okay, and so this is where I would expect some next level of resistance. And if again you look historically, you can see that this level of $6.97, $7 served as support, as resistance, resistance, resistance. You're likely to get a reaction once you come back to this level. Okay, so I would be inclined to sell at that point, because I wouldn't be surprised if we put in a move again to retest the midline of our many hundred days channel. So those are the 3 trade setups that I would that I wanted to show. I'm not actually in these trades, but if I were trading these 3 assets on a short to medium time frame, these are the trades that I would make, and this is why I would take them. Guys, if you got value, please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know if you like this kind of content. I don't do this that often. For my subscribers, you know, I talk about other things. I usually go more into the weeds, more in depth about one asset, Bitcoin, and I may mention a few things about altcoins, but I won't kind of cater to beginners, intermediates. But I don't know if you guys, if most of you all are beginner to intermediate and do find this useful, let me know. All right, take care. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon.